In this lesson, we're going to create the sight on the weapon. Alright, so let's go ahead and grab the low resolution mesh, and let's go ahead and begin this process by going to polygon mode, and we'll select these polygons that make up the object. Actually, before we do that, let's go ahead and realign these edges here. So let's hit isolation mode. Let's take these edges right here, and let's go to ahead and turn that off, grab our move tool, and pull that back. And we just want to pull that back in a position there. Now, you might be wondering why I don't just go ahead and put it right up here against the edge. I don't want to do that because we need a little bit of curvature in that. So we need to get that moving up there. So let's go ahead and go back to polygon mode. With these polygons selected, let's go ahead and extrude that up. So we're going to extrude. I'm going to hit OK, and I'll just pull it up in the Z with the move tool there. And on this, let's go ahead and make planar in the Y, so that way we can get that nice and flat. Pull that up there, and then we're going to scale that in, okay, along the X direction there. Okay, and then let's also scale that in the Y. So it should look something like this. And then pull that down if you need to, just to make sure that that's lined up there. Okay, and then we just need to add our segments in across this. So I think 2 segments will probably do just fine. So we'll just connect that, and let's do 2 segments. Hit OK. Go to our left view, and I'm going to take this loop. Actually, let's take this loop first, and we'll scale that along the X. And then we'll take this one and pull that in. Right about there. Okay, and then we'll pull that in on the X direction until that meets the geometry. Do the same thing here. And we want it to fit as close as possible on that. And let's make sure we take these 2 edges, we pull those in a little bit. Let's go ahead and hold down Control, convert it to a vertex selection. And we'll pull that in. Okay. Alright, so that's looking good. Now, I do want to go ahead and create the sections that we need for the top here. But I'm going to do this one a little bit differently. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take these polygons. Actually, let's do this. Let's go to vertex mode. Let's target weld here to here and here to here. Okay, it's going to create these triangles here. That's fine. So it's going to look like this along the front too. Okay, and let's take these 2 polygons and let's inset that. Now, by insetting this, we're going to create this set of polygons that is going to represent the geometry for that site. Okay, let's take that in. Let's do 0.07 on that. I think that will probably get us right where we need to be, and we'll hit OK. Then I'm going to go to edge mode. I'm going to select this edge and just hit ring. Let's create a single segment, okay, in that. So we'll take this down to 1, and we'll leave it at 0, 0, and I'm going to hit OK on that. But then I'm also going to make planar on that. But before I do that, let's make sure that we go to our left view. I really just want these vertices to match up right here. I don't want to change the center point. I'm going to show you why here in just a moment. Let's take just these vertices right here and let's make those planar in the X direction, and then we'll just pull them over using our move tool. Okay, so it's going to look just like that. Now, the reason that I wanted just this center line here is because I'm going to take those polygons and I'm going to use a technique called extrude along edge, or a tool. So let's go ahead and go to isolate mode. Let's take these polygons right here in the center. Let's take these 2 and let's delete those out. Then I'm going to take these 2 polygons and I'm going to come down. I'm going to use extrude along, or hinge from edge, excuse me. Let's use the settings, but now we need to pick the edge we want to hinge from. And so pick this edge right here in the center. Notice that that's starting to come out. Let's give ourselves like maybe 4 segments, and then we're going to set our angle to 180. Notice how that comes all the way around just like that. Let's add in, let's see, maybe 8 segments on that. And that should give us exactly what we need. That should give us enough geometry to create a nice, smooth site. And especially from where the angle that you're going to see that, maybe in a first-person game, that should give you plenty. You could probably even go down a little bit more, maybe to 6. And that'll give you a pretty good value. But I think I'm more comfortable with 8 on that. All right, hit OK. Now those polygons that you have selected, you want to go ahead and delete those out. So hit delete, and then go to vertex mode, and select around these 3 vertices. And you should see 6 vertices selected. We need to weld those together, but let's actually do weld settings. Let's drop this down to 0.01, and hit OK, and now it says 3 vertices selected. So now that's all together. Now we need to make sure that that is matched up to the reference image. So let's turn off isolation mode, hit F3, and you'll see here that we need to come down a little bit with that. So let's select all of those. Let's pull this down, and whenever those first sets of vertices match up, we'll go ahead and we'll select the others, pull that down, those start to match, and then we'll pull these down until we've matched up with the slope that we have for our front sight. Perfect. Let's hit F3, take a look at our object here, and we're looking really, really good. Now on the front, you could come in, like on the end of the barrel here, you could add maybe a segment just to kind of help round that off. So if you want to connect that with a single segment, pull that out a little bit. So that way we get a nice rounded edge. It could help you catch those normals. But again, we're adding a lot of geometry to this, so we want to make sure that it's really even worth it. So just be mindful of those things. I think that if we go ahead and just turn that off and we leave it flat, we'll be okay. Just things to think about whenever you're adding that. All right, so we finished up this main part of the frame here, and we've done a lot of the work already. The only thing that's really left to do is the cylinder, which will be really easy. Actually, in fact, all of these other pieces will be really easy to do. We're going to use the same techniques that we've been using up to this point, but now what I want to do is I want to show you the process of optimization. I think it's important just to optimize before you move on to the next piece, so that way you know what to expect as you go to your other pieces as well. So we'll go ahead and get into optimization next.